What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. A little three-game early slate today. Nothing on the West Coast. Got a late start in New Orleans. We'll see if that's a factor. Um, not too actually a pretty big injury slate relative to not much questionable stuff, but two huge injuries to talk about. How you doing today, Justin?
Good, man. This is the time of year where I'm supposed to be relaxing, just smelling the roses, not much going on. Like two guys on the injury report max, and we have just
Mhm.
massive injury news, kind of impacting things. Obviously, with Middleton and Devin Booker, and then Luca, like just so much big stuff that's hanging out there that's
Yeah,
dictating stuff.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then we got freaking Time Lord coming back. Ben Simmons Monday. It's kind of bananas. But yeah, the injury reports pretty late. I actually got the right link this time. I'm having link issues today, guys. But yeah, I mean, you see a lot of questionable tags. I guess we'll just start with that. Just super quick. I mean, they're all just BS tags, right?
Yeah, I mean, Miami was on a finalist for longest injury report for a reason, and this is why they have their full 15 player squad. The only new guy on the injury report is Caleb Martin, who was not on the injury report last game. So maybe something to keep an eye on. But we can get into him. He played basically 14
Yeah,
straight minutes in the second half when Bam got into foul trouble. So
yeah,
yeah, some interesting stuff to watch in that rotation for sure. I think we have to look at Duncan Robinson's role. It's continued to
hmm
dwindle. He was a flamethrower in game one, and obviously came back to down to earth. Played seven first half minutes in that game, and yeah, we'll see what the give and take is. You think they'll stick with the nine that they've been running, or will
Well,
we see someone like Caleb Martin in there instead?
apparently, according to Spo, they have a quote full 15-man rotation, according to his post game presser. So yeah, we saw Caleb play well, and he liked that. I mean, I like PJ at the five. I think those lineups are good because the way they're going to switch, they're going to run a lot of screens for Trey. They run kind of off ball stuff for him now too. Talk about the Hawks, I guess, in a second, but yeah, I think that they're probably because the Martin boys, man, they like to guard Trey. They're pretty good at it. So yeah, I think that it's going to be pretty similar. Definitely surprising. And I think Tucker's injury, because he went to the locker room for a minute, I think they like threw a wrench in the rotation because we saw Max Struess come in, and then that kind of like shifted things where Caleb came in. It was like real funky. So I think he kind of like was like acting kind of in the moment. So I think they kind of go more game one-y. But it's worth noting too that Gabe Vincent's been like a huge impact with the way they've been running him with Lowry, three guard lineups and stuff. But I think Gabe Vincent has like really secured himself as like the main kind of benchy role guy, not counting Hero, obviously. But he's been really impactful. I think he makes a lot of sense in this series, especially if they're running a little bit of DeLon, get an extra ball handler out there.
Yeah, a couple other things to note, I guess, in this series, if we're going to finish out the Heat, is
Mhm.
this Bam Adebayo spot. I mean, his role, his touches have been pretty disappointing so
Yeah.
far. I will say though that generally, even if you don't believe in him getting back to regular season Bam, this is probably a generally a good buy low spot, just because he got in
Mhm.
foul trouble last game. His minutes were really limited by that. He got three fouls with 3 minutes left in the half, picked up his fourth, like 90 seconds into the third quarter. So his minutes were cut down dramatically by foul trouble last game.
Mhm.
And his usage did bounce back a little bit from game one. It was 18% in game one, went to 23% in game two.
Yeah.
So a little bit closer to his 24, 25% that we're used to. And they're without Clint Capella. The
Yep.
Hawks really missing him. They're playing John Collins full
Yeah.
time center now. So the spot maybe gets a little better for Bam, and I think if you're just like box score hunting and looking at his stats, you might be a little bit more down on Bam than you probably should be.
The thing that struck me the most is his front court touches. He averaged 38 per game in the regular season, just 21 in game two, 24 in game one. Minutes are a little bit down. So, you prorate that out. It's still a good 75% of what he usually is. So I'm a little concerned there. Maybe it was the COVID protocol stuff. I think that just Bammy, I mean, Jimmy's just taking over. He's added like a full minute of touch time. It's been affecting Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero's usage is down. It's very clear that playoff Jimmy is going to be the horse they're going to ride. I think so. I think Jimmy's definitely a guy. I feel really confident. He just destroyed DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah.
Um,
Butler on DeAndre Hunter this series, 21 points on 14 shots, 71% effective field goal. Like he is just murdering him. And
yeah,
the whole beauty of this whole new Spo rotation is that you have Jimmy surrounded by so many shooters, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't be sending these doubles to Jimmy anymore and feeling good about it when you're just going to get beat from beyond the arc, right? So yeah, I mean, if Jimmy's wrecking DeAndre Hunter, they can't really do anything else about it. They just have
Yeah.
to swallow it and deal with it, you know?
Yeah, that's the whole foundation of their defense, and they don't have the same rim protection behind him either. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's big time. Just to, I guess just to talk Miami really quick. Yeah, we saw like a little bit of a role change for Trey. Like you look at the box score and it doesn't look different, but if you're watching the game, hashtag watch the games. They brought the ball up with their other guards, and then they got the ball into Trey on the wing, whether it was an off-ball screen or something like that, to change the counter from what the Heat ran was basically just run two defenders right when you cross at the half court line whenever they could. So I thought that was a good counter.
Yep.
And the stats show that too. 39 front court touches. Front court touches are, if you bring the ball up, it doesn't count. So at 39, he had 17 in game one. So he like never brought the ball. I mean, he never got the ball in the half court. So I thought that was a good counter. Curious to see if Miami kind of recounters. I don't think they need to.
No.
I think they're fine. Yeah, and yeah. Anything else? I guess John Collins, just really quick with him.
Yeah.
Minutes were pretty good in the last one. I think they're going to be even higher. Nate McMillan, 2 games in a row, sounded pretty confident that Collins is ready for pretty big minutes, not bothered by the foot or the finger injury. Any other injuries / rotation things you're watching for here?
No. Yeah, we obviously no Collins, Onyeka overlap at all this series. They're playing it pretty straight up. Collins played all his minutes at center in game one, all his minutes again at center in game two. And like you said, the ramp up from 21 to 29 for minutes for Collins is pretty aggressive. So the quotes afterwards were good too. Like he wasn't dealing with really any pain or any discomfort that got in the way. So he should be right up, close to his usual minutes today.
Yeah, and they played a lot of DeLon.
Yeah.
I expect that to
He's been
continue.
good for them this series. I like how they've been deploying him with Hero in that second unit. Like he's done a really good job.
Yep, that was a pretty. I like to bash Nate McMillan, but yeah, I mean he's making adjustments. I mean, give him a lot of credit for what he's been doing because they gave themselves a pretty good chance. I think Miami recounters here. I think they're going to run kind of different stuff with their offense and when Jimmy's off the court, especially, but which won't be very much. So I'm on Miami. I got a mixture of money line, -1s, -1.5s. I feel pretty good about Miami. Are you betting Miami at all in this one?
Yeah, I did bet Miami too. Not as big as a Gallagher unit.
Oh, word. Yep. No.
I did like half a unit on Miami. Just trying to figure this out. I think a lot of the road favorites today might be a little trappy, especially the other two games. So I'm trying to get a feel on where I'm at. I think I'm probably a little bit more concerned with Milwaukee without Middleton than I am with Phoenix without Devin Booker. So
yes, I completely agree. So I guess let's get to that. Let's start with Middleton. Obviously, he's not going to play for this series at least. I mean, the easy part is Pat Connaughton's probably going to start. Obviously, increased ball handling for Drew Holiday, Giannis. I think the things we want to watch for are how much does Javon Carter get overlap with Drew. I think they're going to want another defender out there. How much is Grayson going to play? They have missed shooting bad. The spacing is horrible.
Yeah.
Their half-court offense is a disaster. They have an 81.4 offensive rating in the half-court. That's 7 points worse than the Pistons, who rank last. It's just bad offense. Their offense just looks nothing like it usually does. Their open court game has disappeared. So taking Middleton away and that pick and roll stuff that they really liked with him is obviously not there anymore. So besides, do you think is Connaughton for sure starting? Because we saw him kind of not start later in the year.
I would be surprised if he doesn't start. I would think it's Connaughton, and there's a lot to get into here, and I think
go ahead.
Are very understated. He's such an important piece for this offense in terms of his shot creation, in terms of his perimeter attention that he garners, and yeah, I mean, I'm really concerned about the efficiency of this Bucks offense now without him. It's basically, you can send all the doubles and send all the attention to Giannis now. You can sag even more in the paint and force guys like Grayson Allen, Connaughton, Javon Carter to beat you. You can put Caruso pretty much full time now on Drew Holiday. I'm expecting Caruso to guard Drew, Levine on Pat Connaughton. DeRozan on Wes Matthews, Patrick Williams on Giannis, and then Vooch on Brook Lopez, right? And that's a terrible thing because I think if one guy really needs to step up in this spot, it's Drew Holiday, and he's going to have to deal with a lot of Alex Caruso now. So it's going to be a juggling act for Budenholzer here. There's like downsides with pretty much every option you're going to throw in there. So if you talk about throwing in Pat Connaughton, you're not going to get that shot creation, that secondary playmaker that you would with a Grayson Allen, for example. He provides a little bit more of an offensive punch, but with Grayson, you lose some defensively. Bobby Portis, I think that's interesting too, to see how much, if any, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez overlap we get. We saw them overlap 13 minutes in game one.
Bobby Portis, specs alert.
Bobby Portis. There we go. We saw 13 minutes of overlap between Portis and Lopez in game one, and they just got wrecked together. It was like a -20 net rating. So as a result, these 13 minutes of overlap in game one, only 3 minutes of overlap between those two in game two. So with Bobby Portis in there, you obviously get more offense, but you can't be switching 1 through 5. You lose a lot of defensive versatility and messes with your rotations. Like if you start Bobby Portis, you might have to play like Serge Ibaka or something, I guess. It just kind of messes with your rotations a little bit. So this is just a big puzzle, I think, for Budenholzer to solve. Right now, I'm expecting Connaughton to start. Probably this like with an 8-man rotation with Grayson Allen, Javon Carter, and Bobby Portis off the bench. Do you expect any Serge Ibaka, any Jordan Nwora in this spot, or are you expecting them to keep it to 8?
I mean, you would think they're going to prioritize perimeter defense, right? So I think they would just go smaller, and that's my kind of concern. I think there should be overlap just because they need Bobby Portis and Brook to play together for especially the Giannis minutes. But like then again, they like Carter a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go a little bit smaller. And we see, and there was a weird quote from Budenholzer after the game about Lopez saying he needs to play better. I think the question was framed a little bit weird when they were talking about drop coverage because the drop's not as effective against DeMar and Levine, so they're trying to change their defense, which is why I'm like a little bit concerned about Lopez. And I think Revenge Portis, could kind of come out firing here. So I think he could be pretty sneaky if Brook Lopez is kind of struggling. Just because I don't know if they need Brook all that much. I think Brook's going to be solid, but
I think the adjustment with Portis, if anything, would not be him starting at the 4. It would be him cutting into Brook Lopez at the 5.
Yep. Yeah, they just need spacing. I mean, their offense has been struggling here. So yeah, I think giving Portis, put him in the corner on the wings for spacing to help out Giannis, because they're going to send help on whoever's guarding Portis. So I think if you kind of want Portis, near him for better spacing purposes, I would think so. Brook hasn't been respected. They're not really guarding him. He's, I guess, okay. He's fine. I definitely think Portis is a better shooter. So yeah, that's one thing I'm definitely, because I mean we're going to be seeing, assuming I guess. Do you think that the Bucks got this series or what? I feel like they still do, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, I don't feel great about it either. This Bulls defense is like legitimately night and day with Cruz there. I mean, he makes such a big difference. And now without Middleton, like I said, I'm much more concerned about the Middleton injury for Milwaukee than I am for the Devin Booker injury for Phoenix, right? Just because of what he means for them and the options they have to replace him, right? So this offense is going to be struggle city. I'm not even sure that you want to be targeting Drew Holiday necessarily. Obviously, his usage is going to come up, his role is going to come up, but he's going to have to deal with a lot more attention, a lot more Alex Caruso. So, probably a net positive, but not a huge one, nearly in the way it is for someone like Chris Paul without Devin Booker.
Yeah, and the stats are actually pretty similar. If you look at the Giannis and Drew splits with and without Middleton, it's really the role players who kind of benefit statistically and usage rate wise, which was kind of surprising to me. But I think Giannis is going to go crazy. Just quickly on the Bulls, we saw Caruso play 38 minutes after kind of being capped game one after missing some time. That's going to happen again. As you mentioned, he's just extremely important here. He's basically like Marcus Smart for this defense, where they're going to basically just tag team defense Giannis, and then just like you said, put Caruso on Drew and take care of him. That's
even more important for this team, arguably, just because their supporting cast is just weaker defensively, so he has to take on a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else Bulls injury wise? Levine's minutes have been great with that knee injury that's behind him.
Yeah, with DeRozan, I don't think I wouldn't speculate that Middleton's injury has any impact on that. Wes has actually been really good on DeRozan. I know DeRozan went absolutely ham for 41 last game, but a lot of that damage was on Giannis, not on Wes Matthews. So I think Wes has really done a good job. What kind of stick? So I don't think this moves anything DeRozan wise on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, he's been pretty solid. Moving on to the last game. Obviously, let's talk. Or do you have any betting takes here? You said you could be trappy. I'm not betting this one.
Yeah, I would touch Bucks team total under if anything. I'm very skeptical on their ability to score. They've already, like you said, struggled in the half court and transition without Middleton. It's just going to be you're basically betting against Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen, Javon Carter here, and that's who the Bulls are going to beat them in this spot.
Yep. I'm with you. I think that's probably I don't usually like to bet unders and overs for sides for some reason because I'm not comfortable with it yet, but that definitely makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Moving to the Suns, obviously no Devin Booker, and this is a question that so my first inclination was start Cam Johnson, and then I listened to Monty Williams, and he's he's big into continuity, and I think that is a factor for Shamet. He said that Shamet's the next man up, et cetera, et cetera. And the stats really scream that Shamet has been his guy. They have 165 minutes with their non-Booker starters, so CP3, Mikal Bridges, Crowder, Ayton. Of those 165, Shamet's been 116 as the fifth man. Cam just 40. Cameron Payne 10. So who do you think starts is the first question. I think it's Shamet, but I think it should be Johnson.
Well, I don't think it really matters because I think Shamet will start, but I think Cam will play more minutes. So we saw this kind of a little bit when Devin Booker went down. Shamet subbed in. He played 11 and a half straight minutes, but it was Cam Johnson who was in that closing lineup. And that's indicative of who Monty actually trusts in those spots. So, Shamet will start more than likely, but I think Cam's role is going to be really solid. And if you just look at like the on-off stuff with Booker, just in partial games and in full games he's missed, Cam Johnson's really been the biggest beneficiary in terms of like overall per minute production differential without Devin Booker. So Shamet can have his start. I'm going to be focused on Cam Johnson. I think that's the guy you want to target.
Yeah, they need the length, man. With the way Brandon Ingram's attacking their defenders, and then the other question is, they have to put Mikal on Ingram, right? They have to. I don't know what the hell he's doing.
What do you have Mikal Bridges here for? I mean, I know you got to pick your poison to an extent with CJ versus BI, but like with the way Ingram's playing, I think you got to make that switch.
Yeah. It just makes so much sense to me. And he used to guard him, but it's not like this isn't new, I guess it is. Well, he used to. So before CJ was there, he got the Mikal assignment, and then CJ arrived. I think Ingram was out, and so anyways, I think that's got to be coming. Anything else on the Suns that how high? And also, I guess we should. Are you worried about Herb and Chris Paul? I think Chris Paul is so good at just getting off the guy he doesn't want covering him, so I don't really think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, CP3's all time in terms of navigating pick and rolls, in terms of getting guys and getting defenders in spots where he wants, forcing switches, seeing angles. And no disrespect to her because he's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, but it's just a lot for a rookie to deal with in this spot against one of the best to ever do it. And one of the best pick and roll guys of all time. So Herb in certain matchups, and a lot of matchups rather, he is concerning. But CP3 is, I think, a guy who could be the exception to that rule, where you're not as concerned just because of the variety of ways he can actually hurt you and put up numbers.
Yeah, and he's not going to try to elevate over Herb like a lot of guys try to do, or try to get to the basket like a lot of guys try to do it. Those are two of Herb's strengths. So Herb's strengths are like almost superfluous in guarding Chris Paul. Anything on Pelican side? We saw Jackson Hayes kind of bounce back a little bit, made a little bit big of an impact later in the game. Trey Murphy's minutes didn't get as high as I wanted. Anything, and Larry Nance. So just kind of a tangent. They're going to run so many pick and rolls with Ayton and CP3. Does that give you like any concern about Joval? With the way he's going to get kind of picked up on switches, does that concern you? Because Larry Nance would be much better in that role if they're going to one pick and roll to death.
Yeah, I do think Nance should be playing more. That Nance and Murphy should both be playing more in this series. To some extent, but I don't think it's enough to to lower Joe Val's minutes floor
Yeah.
that much to where I'd be like totally off of him. But I agree with you. I mean, Nance's role in this one should continue to pick up. I think he should
Yeah.
be. If I was their coach Willie Green, I would be playing Nance mid-20s in terms of minutes. I think
Yeah.
upping Trey Murphy as well. So I think
Not
like
Tony, not Tony Snell like in the Clippers game.
no,
Can't believe.
dude, some of these coaching adjustments are baffling. So we
Yeah.
saw last night with Mike Malone. His pregame was like, "We need a spark plug, so I'm going to play Facu
Marco
Campazzo."
Campazzo. Oh,
Facu Campazzo was what, like -10 in 4 minutes or something. Like what are we doing here? What are we doing?
yeah. I thought they were gonna play Zeke Naji, man. I thought he made a lot of sense. 'Cause he's like so switchable and he's good. He's one of the best like power forwards at guarding guards, in my opinion. For like
Yeah, that's the
people, like,
difference.
not excluding like the elite guys.
That's the difference in NBA coaches, man. They want the vets in that spot versus the
Yeah.
younger guys, right?
Yeah.
They trust those guys a little bit more, even though Facu's like beyond watch. Let's put him in there, against
Yeah.
Steph, Jordan Poole, and Klay Thompson. What can go wrong?
Yeah, man. What the hell? God, those Jeff Green unders were so tasty
Yeah.
yesterday. I bet them so many ways. It was so good. Think that's it. Anything else that you want to hit? Do you have any other takes for the weekend or anything you want to let the people know about? And underdog, anything you guys got going on for stuff over there?
No, man. We're releasing a pretty fun special on the Underdog NBA account on Monday, I believe. Hopefully
Oh,
on Monday.
nice.
So be on the lookout for that. We're just doing it one time this season, and it should be on Monday. So yeah, that should be free money for everybody involved. It should be memeable and something that'll be fun for everybody. So
Nice.
yeah, not much
And I
else
got
on that grind, man.
Yeah, I got a bet. I took Celtics to win the East at plus 230
Yep.
with the Time Lord news. I feel pretty good about it if anybody wants to tell me there. Okay, so we're out of here on that. Justin, you're the man. Thanks for joining us on the Injury Show. We will catch you guys next time.